you were kidnapped, I guess, when you were 16?
I was kidnapped when I was 13.
13,
Well,
sorry.
let me see. Which time? I was kidnapped a couple of times. I was kidnapped when I was 13 years old from the mall. It was the first time my mother let me leave the house. And I had a best friend, and we went to the mall, my first time ever on my own without my mom. And this girl knew some guys who were older. They were all over 18. And they kidnapped us and threw us in the car and kept us for 3 days.
This was in St. Thomas?
This was in Florida.
In Florida, okay,
Yeah.
sorry. Okay, so you got kidnapped for 3 days. And I assume some sort of rape happened during that time and so forth?
Yeah, there was rapes and tying up. It was exactly what you would think would happen if 3 grown men kidnapped 2 young girls. You know, it was horrifying. And I remember I learned how to break into a motel that day. The leader of the crew, who was the one who raped me repeatedly for 3 days, he unscrewed the bolts on the air conditioning system, removed the vent, pushed the unit inside, because he's a criminal. And that's how we got into the Motel 6. Put everything back so no one would know that we were in there, and no one knew we were in there. Picked a room that was way far, you know, at the farthest end of the hotel, and we were there for a while, and no one knew.
How'd you guys get away?
On the 3rd day, everyone got hungry. And so the guys took us to McDonald's around the corner. We got to McDonald's, and all the guys were looking up at the menu, trying to figure out what to order, and we said, we're going to go to the bathroom. Is that okay? He said, yeah, sure. You know, just hurry up. So we went to the bathroom, which was closest to the door. And you know how when you're in like bathroom hallways, there's that rounded mirror, that kind of fisheye mirror, so you can see everything. So we were looking at the mirror, and we can see them still looking up, trying to decide what to order. So we ran out of the restaurant, down the street, hit a turn, ended up on a residential street, and we slid underneath a car. They were chasing us. So we were under this, it's like a movie. We were under this car holding our breaths, and we can see their feet and them saying, where'd they go? Where'd they go? I don't know where'd they go. And we're just sitting there, these 2 little girls, 13 years old, under this car. And we stayed there for a while until we were sure that they were gone. And then we walked to the nearest payphone and we called her mom to come get us.
So did the guys ever get caught, charged, anything?
I didn't tell anyone for about a year. And I didn't tell anyone because when I got home, my mother, after being gone for 3 days,
Right.
my mother grabbed me by the hair, threw me on the ground, and started kicking me and punching me and telling me what a whore I was and how I smelled like sex and that I was just a whore.
Was that the first time you ever had sex?
It was my first time.
So you actually were a virgin?
My first sexual experience was a rape.
Wow.
And he left all these hickeys and bruises and things on me, and she just kept yelling at me and telling me what a whore I was and how dirty and how disgusting I was, and kicking me and punching me and threw me in you know, in a hot shower. And so I didn't have a chance to say anything. No one asked me any questions. No one said, where were you? What happened? Are you okay? Do you need help? No one asked me anything. So for a year, I didn't tell anybody anything. My girlfriend and I kept it secret. I don't know if she told her mom or not. We just never talked about it. And then one day, and I was holding that in for a year. And then I was walking around school. I was starting to have emotional breakdowns. I was starting to, a year had passed and the anniversary of that date had come, you know, so I started remembering again. And I remember walking around school one day, class was in session and I hadn't gone to class, and I was just kind of meandering around the halls, and I just kind of, I don't know, I was numb. So I was just walking around numb, just walking around, no books, no nothing. And the police officer, the school officer, Officer Mike, stopped me and said, and for the first time in my life that I remember, someone said, "What's wrong?" And just hearing someone say, "What's wrong?" it all started coming out. So I started crying and telling him what had happened. Mm-hmm. So he took me into the counselor's office. They called my mom. And I remember them pulling out, I don't know whether it was the same day, the next day, hours later, I'm not sure, pulling out a book of criminals. Because I gave them a description of what one of the assailants looked like. And
but didn't your friend know one of them or something?
Yeah. She knew all of them.
All of them.
But she wasn't there with me. It was just me. And he was asking me like what this guy looked like. And I told him, and he pulled out a book full of mugshots.
Okay.
I'm 14 at this point. I'm just looking at all these criminals, and I found the face. And I pointed and I said, that's him. Honestly, I don't know what happened next. They called my mother. They told my mother what happened. They told my mother that I had, identified the guy. They were going to charge him, all these things. And then no one ever talked about it again.
So nothing probably happened.
I don't know.
Probably. Because there'd be a follow-up. There'd be,
Yeah, I don't
statements.
know. My mother never discussed it again. Right. She never discussed it with me. Well, she never discussed it with me at all. Even after the information came in, she never sat me down and talked to me about it. She pretended as if it didn't happen. So nothing happened. I don't know whether she did something to make it go away. I don't know what happened, but it was just over.
And you got kidnapped again?
Yes, I ran away. This is when the running away starts. I start running away a lot. And I remember running away, I think I might have been 14, 15. I can't remember, but we're still in Florida. I run away. Somehow I end up with a friend who has a friend. My friend's friend's supposed to take me to the store or something. And he ends up taking me to his house. He has a gun on his lap, a revolver. And he's driving, and he's telling me that he's taking me to his house. Mm-hmm. I might have been about 15. And he takes me to his house. And he tries to have sex with me. He tries to rape me. And I run. I don't get out at first. I remember he stops me. I remember him putting the gun in my mouth. I remember him pulling the trigger and it jamming. I don't know whether it jammed or didn't have bullets. I didn't know what. I'm so young, but nothing happened.
But you actually had a gun in your mouth?
Yeah.
Okay.
And something happened. He walks away from me. I don't know when we went to the bathroom. I don't know what time. I don't know. Remember how long it was, but I ended up running out of the apartment, running to the first place I saw, which was I want to say it was a Chinese food restaurant.
Okay.
And I remember saying, I've been kidnapped, please help me, and people turning their backs. And I'm sitting there in the lobby of this restaurant, and I'm just like, help me, and people literally looked at me, heard me, and then turned their backs. No one wanted to be involved. I saw his car driving past. I saw his car in the parking lot, because it was somewhere very close to where he lived. I saw him driving past. I don't remember how I got out of that. I don't remember, but that was the second time.
I mean, it's so funny, man. When it's been certain places Drake has come looking for me. Like when I guess it was the breakfast. Sometimes a lot of times people will advertise the Breakfast Club is going to be somewhere, but it might be Envy and Angela, and I don't be there.
I think celibacy is important right now for me because I'm trying to stay focused, and I want to smile more, and I want to be more into my music, and I want to be more into myself, and I want to just get to know myself better.